Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. I got an email from Anonymous. The subject line says, President Hinckley exclaimed, "Welcome, Father Lehi." And then in the email, amazing story of visitors from the other side of the veil. And then Anonymous leaves a link for a church news article. And Anonymous is sending this to me because I have this new spreadsheet called Timeline, Visions, and Visitations, where I'm attempting to track down every vision or visitation from a heavenly messenger on this timeline. So this is now the most recent account that I have. I know that there's probably even more recent accounts, but I'll find those as time goes on. It's a work in progress. Up until this point, the most recent one that I had was from Lorenzo Snow when he saw the Savior in the Salt Lake Temple. That's a very, very famous story, but I went through it and I read through this account, which gives the most detail. I did a video about this just like a week or two ago. And then most of the other ones that I have right now are from the very early days of the church, during the days of Brigham Young and Joseph Smith. So, but over time, we'll get this more filled out. What I'm about to read to you today, you can find it on this spreadsheet, Timeline, Visions, and Visitations, as well as this one called Quotes A through Z. And it's under the Mexico City, Mexico Temple entry, currently on row 164. Okay, the link for my spreadsheets is in the description box of each video. There's 4 people looking at my spreadsheets right now as I make this video, so they are accessible to you. Really quick, here's the update on the Flood the Earth Challenge. We're at 8,885 copies of the Book of Mormon shared so far. We're trying to get to 10,000, so we're getting really close to that. And we have one new report of somebody meeting with the missionaries, which brings us to 162. So guys, sharing the Book of Mormon works. Please share the Book of Mormon. You never know if that person hasn't already been prepared by the Lord for that moment when you give them a copy of the Book of Mormon. And remember, the easiest way to do it, use the Gospel Library app, go to Scriptures. There's a button at the top that says share. Just click on that. It gives you a link that you can either text or email or direct message to somebody, and then they'll have the Book of Mormon app. Okay? So keep up the good work. Good things are happening. Okay, so the link takes us to this church news article called "The Most Memorable Part of the Mexico City Temple Dedication Was These Words from President Hinckley." This is an article by, I think it's Gary. I'm not sure if it's Gary or Jerry Avant from the 22nd of June, 2018. Okay, so here's President Hinckley with his wife at the Mexico City, Mexico Temple. Okay, I'm sure everyone has had an experience that becomes embedded in his or her memory. Maybe it came through some action or something that was said. One of my memories comes from the dedication of the Mexico City, Mexico Temple, December 2nd through 3rd, 1983. President Gordon B. Hinckley, at that time, second counselor in the first presidency, conducted and addressed some of the sessions to dedicate the temple, which was the first in Mexico and the 26th worldwide. Which that's kind of astounding, actually, to think that we've come this far when it comes to Mexico, because let me just pull up Google Earth. Okay, let me turn on temples. I actually need to update this a little bit more, but let me turn on, okay, Borders and Places is on. Yeah, so here's Mexico. Look how many temples are in Mexico. Unless I'm missing one, which I might, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And I think there might be another one from this last conference, but I'm not sure. But Mexico has come a long way. It's the second largest country in the church by church membership. So this is really exciting. So this is kind of significant because this is the first temple in Mexico. Maybe that's why this happened, because it was the first temple in Mexico. Oh, and by the way, this number includes the temples that are announced or under construction as well. That's why I have these different colors. Okay, so as he began his address in one of the sessions, President Hinckley spoke with a quivering voice as he testified that souls, quote, from the other side of the veil were present. All rooms of the temple are filled with faithful Latter-day Saints, he said, but I am convinced there is a larger unseen congregation participating with us. You guys, he's not just saying that because he's like, he just thinks that. I'm sure that he has it on good authority, whether he's just feeling it there in the moment or if he's told ahead of time. I'm sure he has it on good authority that that is actually the case. And I'm sure that that happens with every temple dedication. You know, when we talk about the Kirtland Temple, there were angels that were there, seen and unseen. And I just feel like, you know, in my lifelong membership of the church, I feel like I've heard this a number of times that there are typically angels at temple dedications. I feel like I've heard a number of different stories similar to this. But anyway, continuing, President Hinckley then named specifically individuals who had key roles in establishing the church in Mexico, beginning with Brigham Young, who sent missionaries to the country. He stated the names of several of the missionaries and the first vision, or the first mission president. He named the first Mexican who was baptized and pronounced the names of several others who had occupied a place in the history of the church in Mexico. President Hinckley then proceeded to give the talk he had prepared. I suppose most of us have been in congregations when the person conducting the meeting has acknowledged certain people, such as a member of the stake presidency or other visitor, and later has said something to the effect, there's another person I failed to introduce. Something like that happened during the dedication of the temple in Mexico City. Okay, now look at this. President Hinckley had been speaking several minutes. He paused and explained there was another person from the other side of the veil he had not mentioned. In a strong voice, filled with emotion and joy, President Hinckley exclaimed, quote, "Welcome, Father Lehi. Oh, how your heart must rejoice," end quote. So that would be a really interesting thing to witness. You know, he already talked about another congregation being there. He was sure that there was another unseen congregation there. And then he gets to this point, and then he pauses. I mean, this is after it says here, this is after he talked about Brigham Young and the history of Mexico, the first Mexican to be baptized into the church, right? So he talked about the congregation on the other side of the veil. He told the history of the church in Mexico. And then after that, there's this moment where he pauses and then he says, "Welcome, Father Lehi. Oh, how your heart must rejoice." Can you imagine being there as he's saying that? All right, continuing. I was seated on one of the front rows in the celestial room. I wanted to turn around and look in the direction where a quote-unquote latecomer might have entered the room. The moment seemed so real that I felt surely I could see what Father Lehi looked like. I didn't see the great Book of Mormon prophet, and I can't affirm that President Hinckley saw him with physical eyes, but I've no doubt that the Spirit let President Hinckley know that Father Lehi indeed was present that day in the temple. Let's just stop right there. Maybe at some future point, maybe in Gordon B. Hinckley's diaries or something like that, maybe it's recorded. Maybe he actually did see Father Lehi. So that's why on my spreadsheet, I put this in gray. I have these color coded according to whether it's a vision or visitation. In this case, it's not really known, but I feel like it's close enough to where I would want to track it on this tracker. So, but I would not be surprised if he actually did see Father Lehi. We have other visitations where, for example, in the Kirtland Temple, or one time when it was Joseph Smith in a small group, where not everybody saw either angels or the Savior. So, that could still be the case today, where you only have certain people, maybe even just one person that sees the heavenly visitor. Okay, so President Hinckley spoke of other temples as a fulfillment of prophecy regarding Lehi's descendants. Quote, 6 new temples have been dedicated this year. These were unplanned in terms of particular prophecy, but most of these temples have been built to serve descendants of Lehi. I believe the Lord has touched his prophet, then President Spencer W. Kimball, to bring into play those processes which he is remembering, by which he is remembering ancient covenants concerning descendants of Lehi. Yeah, I would not be surprised. In a recent video, well, it wasn't too recent, maybe 2 months ago, I think, We read the account of, it was in Peru, had to do with Cusco, and how Hugh B. Brown is reported as having had a visitation in the night. He was visiting the mission in Cusco in Peru. And they were trying to decide, okay, we only have this many missionaries. And so we need to like close an area and focus on, another area. So which area should we close? And one of the ones under consideration was Cusco. And Hugh B. Brown, who was a member of the first presidency, he was there. They were thinking about it. He's like, okay, let's sleep on this. We'll talk tomorrow morning. And then he came down for breakfast and he said, I was visited all night by Book of Mormon prophets who asked for me to not close Cusco because it's a sacred place. There was a temple there at one time. And so as a result, they kept open that area, even though it was not very productive as far as missionary work went. So I feel like there's probably so much that we just don't know when it comes to special sites. I know that there's like this whole like debate between Mesoamerica and the heartland model and and that's fine. I know a lot of you are really into that. I don't really care, frankly. I probably, if I had to, I would probably side with the Heartlanders, but I'm content just waiting to see what actually happens. But it's not hard for me to believe that you have these special sites. We have other accounts where Moroni, for example, with the Manti Temple, that he had dedicated that land for a future temple. Brigham Young said that. I can't remember who he had said it to. I don't remember the other guy's name. But he is reported as having said that Moroni dedicated the land that the Manti Temple is on. And when I was looking at Family Search, that's where a lot of my ancestors, more than I knew actually, had gone through the Manti Temple for their ordinances. So anyway, this doesn't surprise me. So, so to bring into play those processes by which he is remembering ancient covenants concerning descendants of Lehi in regards to these 6 new temples. Okay, continuing. In one session, President Hinckley said he had watched the choir director. Quote, I'm confident from her appearance there is in her veins the blood of Father Lehi and Mother Sariah. I've seen shining in her eyes the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and I see it in your eyes. What wonderful people you are, people of capacity, faith, and devotion, he told the congregation. I spent several hours that weekend on the grounds of the new temple. Hundreds of members stood in line before each of the 8 sessions over 2 days, waiting for their turn to enter the temple. They came from many parts of Mexico and Guatemala, and from many walks of life. The poor and the rich, the young and the old, all stood together, anticipating what was to transpire. With few exceptions, mainly returned missionaries and former mission presidents and their families, I knew they were children of Lehi. All had come with that ancient prophet to a sacred place of a holy occasion. Okay, I was privileged to be there with them. So we will find out at some point, maybe during the millennium, maybe after this earth has gone through everything and it's become celestialized. But at some point we will know, we'll be able to look back and be like, yep, you had the descendants of Lehi there. And then you also had Lehi and his family. Maybe Nephi was there. Maybe, Sam, who knows? But these are very special things. So yeah, again, this is on quotes A through Z under Mexico City, Mexico Temple. And then also on my timeline, visions and visitations spreadsheet. And this is now the most recent one, the 2nd through 3rd December, 1983. If you have any other ones, please send them my way. Thank you, Anonymous, for letting me know about this. I probably never would have found it if it wasn't for you. So who knows what else is out there. That's the thing, as I try and collect all these different things and I do this study, I do it for the channel, but I do it for myself as well. And being a lifelong member, I'm just surprised how much is out there that I don't know. what else is there? So let's all do this together and access this anytime that you want. All right, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.